Today we're back with my 2022 Subaru BRZ, and it's time for an update. As you can see, we have a new set of wheels and tires on this. We have added grip to the BRZ. This is a set of 16x7 Enkei RPF1s. They weigh 13.7 pounds each, and I have wrapped them in the new Bridgestone RE-71RS tires, 205/55 R16s. My goal with this setup was to make a lightweight, street-friendly, track-capable setup. Tons of grip, but still some sidewall and compliance for our rough, potholed Michigan roads. I also wanted to go pretty lightweight. This saves about 7 pounds per corner, 7.3 pounds per corner over the stock wheel and tire setup. Stock wheels are about 23 pounds a piece. Stock tires are about 20 pounds a piece on the premium 17-inch setup. These wheels, 13.7 pounds a piece, tires 22 pounds a piece. So you get a little bit of unsprung weight savings here. You can kind of feel it under braking, under some cornering and acceleration. It feels like the BRZ got a tune. It's a little bit more peppy. So we're gonna go take a drive on this. I've driven this around a little bit this week, but haven't really pushed too hard. So this is gonna be kind of the shakedown session. We've got a nice cool Sunday morning. Tires should heat up pretty quickly. A couple notes on the new Bridgestone RE-71RS. This is now an asymmetric design. So you can rotate these tires. They're no longer directional, which is nice if you're not running a staggered setup. If you're running a square setup, you can put these tires on any corner of the car you want, which is fantastic. Tons of grip. A more traditional tread compound now that can be manufactured in more sizes and at higher volumes. More grip, longer life, longer tread life. Bridgestone worked pretty hard to increase that over the Bridgestone RE-71Rs. I actually never drove on the RE-71Rs, but they absolutely dominated on track. A truly revolutionary tire for time attack, autocross. They heated up incredibly quickly. Actually utilized a motorcycle tire compound, and the new RE-71RS uses some more traditional materials, but improves performance at the same time. So I am really excited to get behind the wheel and test these out. Another change I made, I went on Amazon and bought a wireless CarPlay adapter. I don't really know the brand of it. Garland kit? Anyway, it was like 20-30 bucks, and it actually works really well. So kind of a neat feature. I don't always have to reach over, plug in my CarPlay in the BRZ. I think any of these wireless CarPlay kits should work pretty well. It was just pretty much plug and play. So not a sponsored product or anything like that, but just something that I found really useful daily driving this BRZ recently. So as a little bit of a refresher, this car is pretty much completely stock suspension. We have a more aggressive alignment up front, about -1.5 degrees of camber. All right, so initial impressions on these wheels and tires. I absolutely love the way they look. I think the design from the RPF1 is just such a classic design. I wanted a wheel that I could replace if any of them got damaged, either on track or with a pothole or what have you. Something that I could ship from Tire Rack pretty much in a day or two. And I wanted something that was lightweight, that looked good, that was easy to clean, and the RPF1 just kind of hit all those marks, checked all those boxes. I didn't want to go too wide. I didn't want too much grip out of this BRZ. I still wanted to be able to enjoy it, slide it around just a tad, but I didn't want to have to worry about tires overheating on track, or I just wanted a consistent tire that I could get good laps out of. If I were doing some competitive driving, I'd probably go with 245s or something like that on a 17-inch rim. But here we are in Michigan on 16s, and I think this is going to be a pretty good setup for my purposes. All right, we're going to get these warmed up just a little bit, scrubbed in. Just insane levels of grip. And that's pretty much from cold right off the bat. Stickier than anything that I drive on a regular basis from the factory. hit some more entrance ramps here and see what these tires are really capable of. But on the highway, noise seems to be about the same as the Primacies were. You definitely hear them, but they're not as loud as Michelin Pilot Sport 4S's, for example. Not nearly as loud. Pretty comfortable tire. I think my sizing does help with that a little bit. These are also supposed to be really good in the rain, and I haven't driven them in the wet yet. Standing water, maybe not so much. I do have a little bit of an advantage with the narrower width in standing water, but on wet pavement, these new RE-71RS tires are supposed to be just the jam. So we're going to do a wet drive later on this week when it rains, and I'll give you guys some driving impressions with that too. And I'm sure we'll see a wet track day or potentially a wet autocross in the future too with this car. So I'll report back on those. Around we go. Pretty good steering feel from these tires too. You feel they're still not quite warmed up, but jeez, that was an impressive speed around that entrance ramp. This new BRZ is already at a bit of a disadvantage with steering feel, but these tires, even on 16s, definitely show some improvements in that front, especially over the stock Michelin Primacies. We're going to shake this down probably at M1 Concourse or Gingerman Raceway within the next month or so, and really get some time in these tires, see how they react to heat. I also have upgraded the brakes on this BRZ, so we've gone to a set of front DBA 4000 rotors, which should improve cooling significantly, and hopefully that'll get rid of my brake fade issues that I had on my first track session in this car. Yeah, the grip is absolutely insane. Are there any trade-offs that I'd be making with this 16-inch setup versus a more traditional 17-inch wheel and tire setup? A lot of people put 225, 45 R17s on these BRZs, and that seems to be kind of a sweet spot. Some people will go a little bit wider with 235s or 245s and 17 sizing. These 16s potentially could see a little bit more tire wear just because of my 205 width. More forces are being applied to my tire because I'm not distributing it over a wider section. But honestly, these BRZs are so light that I haven't really seen a lot of tire wear in the past, unless if I'm just sliding around on the set and just being a hoon. So I will see how it goes. We'll track tire wear on around Gingerman. That'll be the big teller. Gingerman just chews up driver side front tires. So luckily I can rotate these tires around a little bit and hopefully get some more life out of them that way. Another potential disadvantage could be that I'm just not going to be seeing as nice response and initial turn-in or agility out of these tires on 16s, just because they have taller sidewalls versus a set of 17-inch wheels and tires. And honestly, it seems like these are pretty responsive, especially on stock suspension. So I'm not really factoring that in as much of a complaint. running a tire with a softer sidewall, like a Continental Sport Contact, or something that was a little bit less high performance, ultra high performance oriented, then I would definitely see a little bit more sidewall rollover, a little bit more squish to the tire than I would probably like for a track setup. But these sidewalls are so stiff and so nicely dialed in that I'm not really factoring that in as too much of a disadvantage. One more entrance ramp into second. Yeah, see, that's what I'm looking for. I just want to be able to balance this on the throttle. Oh, I love it. So much fun. So do I have any other plans for this BRZ? I've got this pretty dialed in right now. I'm actually very happy with it. I think I'm going to leave the exhaust stock. Putting a louder exhaust on here would be fun. It would sound great. One thing I have thought about doing with this BRZ that I did to my previous 2014 BRZ is I would like the shorter 4.3 gearing in this car. Yes, we have more power, but I still really enjoy rowing through the 6-speed manual transmission, and that shorter gearing from the 2017 to 2020 BRZ GR86 or Toyota 86 was just about perfect in my opinion. And I have a feeling at some point with a refresh, Subaru may go back to that gearing. Subaru and Toyota might revert back to that 430 rear differential. So I don't know, you can pick up a 4.3 rear diff on eBay for about, I don't know, $600-700. Swap that in. It might be a worthy modification and wake this car up a little bit, make it a little bit more fun to drive. The gearing is still kind of tall, even though we do have more power. It feels well matched, a lot better matched in this new 22 BRZ than it did in the first generation, the pre-refresh BRZ and Toyota 86 and FRS. So that's a possibility. I'm kind of tossing that idea around. I'm going to hold on to this car for a little bit. I'm actually really, really enjoying it. I'm super excited for winter, so I'm definitely going to have to put together a fun winter setup. I'm thinking I'll stick with 16s for the winter. I do have a set of 17-inch OEM size wheels and tires, 215/45R17 Blizzak WS90s. And those were great last winter. I did a few snowy drives in this BRZ, but I still want the compliance of 16-inch wheels here in Michigan. I think I might just run a set of 16s year-round. This setup, and in the winter, the winter tires. So I'm going to go slightly oversized on those tires. I'm thinking 205/60 R16s. The OEM sizing would be 205/55 R16s. So a little bit taller sidewall, about another 0.7 inches, another inch or so of tire diameter. So that'll result in slightly better ground clearance, which is definitely an important thing with these BRZs. If you're not bottoming out over deep snow, you can get through quite a bit. Lower the tire pressure slightly, it gives you just a little bit more leeway to have fun in this car. Okay guys, well there's a quick initial drive on the new wheel and tire setup. Enkei RPF1s, 16x7, and Bridgestone RE-71RSs in 205/55 R16s. I am very, very happy with how this all turned out. Pretty thrilled, actually. I love the way they look. They perform absolutely just incredibly well. And yeah, just a little bit more excitement walking up to my car. This is going to be fun. I can't wait to get these out on track. I also want to do a drive on these in the rain, in the wet, and show you guys what that is like. So stay tuned for that. That's really where I've heard that these RE-71RSs are their most impressive. It's almost ridiculous how well they perform on the wet. Tire Rack did some testing, and this just blew everything out of the water. So quite literally and figuratively. But yeah, I think the stance on these is perfect too. These are the 35mm offset RPF1s. I believe you can also get a 48mm offset, but these I think look the best in my opinion. Just perfectly spaced in the rear, and then up front with a little bit of camber. I have about 1.4 degrees of negative camber. They're just tucked in a little bit, but oh man, so happy with the way everything turned out. All right, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. We'll have some more BRZ updates here on track soon, but until then, stay tuned and enjoy some of the other content we've got coming out for you. A lot of fun performance cars that we've driven the last few weeks, and those videos will be trickling out as time goes on.